life shine. You gotta be working to get the woman and the wine. Keep the beat and get your hands in the air. Shuffle it deep cause it's an African affair. To Buffalo Park and our home at St. George's. We're bringing the silverware back on the border. That's the way of the warrior. That's the way of the warrior. That's the way of the warrior. That's the everyday warrior. Sit down, coming out of PE town. Drink, find a shot, never mind your liver, get to Gino's spot.
Gino's spot!
Get to Gino's spot.
Gino's spot!
Have a laugh, have a giggle, and exercise your middle, have a Gino shot.
Gino's shot!
Get to Gino's spot.
Gino's spot!
Get to Gino's spot.
Gino's spot!
Have a laugh, have a giggle, and exercise your middle, get to Gino's spot.
Gino's spot!
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Center Stage.
Word by word. Yes, I can hear Kanya Matomela laughing. That was a real thwack. Thank you, Wayne Callis, for that. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Gino's Spot. Voila! Just the yellow matches and everything. I think it looks quite good, this little set that I've got. We put up the little guitars and things and to make it a little bit more nice for you people, for your very own viewing pleasure. And tonight is a special night. We normally don't do Thursdays. But every now and again, of course, Fires comes in, or Sandy Coffey, or Dean Allen, or Arnold Slubbert, or whoever's going to pop in and do an extra Gino spot on a Thursday, just to keep you guys occupied, and also to bring you some lovely information, some interesting people for you to watch. So thank you, of course, to Spar, in case you didn't notice, with all the Spar everywhere. Our sponsor, Spar, which we are very, very grateful to. Fantastic. And also Fitch and Leeds, of course, have been involved since the beginning too. Also Amobia, our internet, as you can see, our internet service provider as well. So thank you for joining us at Gino Spot tonight. I know it's not the usual Tuesday, but it's a Thursday, and it's going to be great fun because we've got Allan Lamb, and of course Hugh Page is going to pop on as well, which is very cool because he's a good bloody storyteller, you know. So we're going to, of course, Fires is going to be Mike Van Vuuren, our resident fast bowler / fisherman, / Labrador, is going to be taking over from me tonight and doing the interview because he is our cricket guru. And so, of course, always, I must tell you before we go any further that our Center Stage show, 25 years of Center Stage, we are celebrating this year, and that is the songs that rocked our world. As you can see on your screen, myself, Tiago Vital, in order of vision of your very eyes. Myself, Tiago Vital on bass, Dylan Du Plessis, son of famed DJ Lance Du Plessis, on guitar as well. Russell Sneed joining too. Wayne Callis in the middle there. Kanya Matamela, who was nastily laughing at me, we're getting hit on the head. And Tuba Miyaki, of course, incredible vocalist, and the gorgeous Tara Jane Stern as well. All of us at the Hellenic Hall. Don't miss out. The Hellenic Hall on from the 25th to the 28th of this very month, and then we're moving off to East London in November as well. We have 2 dates in PE in November too, and then and tickets are selling very fast. So please make sure I think we've almost sold out the one night already, and we've still got another Lord knows how many days to go until we get there as well. It's more than 2 weeks to go still, and we've already nearly sold out one night. So please book your tickets so as not to be disappointed. Everybody's getting out there. They're getting out there to the shows, which is fantastic. And our first outing in 2.5 years as center stage. So we champion at the bit to get out there and entertain you guys at the Hellenic Hall, 25th to the 29th. Don't miss out. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, it is now time for me to bring onto screen our host for this evening, Mr. Mike Van Vuuren. Let's do this.
Welcome to the show. Now is your time to shine. We're gonna have a like a chat tonight. Another good time.
I had to make my voice very deep.
Well done. As always, a great intro.
Thank you.
Wonderful
Thanks,
to
Pius.
have Lammy and Pagey with us, and
Yes.
we've also got a shark expert. I've been sending Lammy all
No.
these.
You know, you just Fires the fisherman is always comes in here, and there was a shark attack at Plex a little while ago, and interesting to see what the hell's going on with this stuff. You know, we were just looking at. I believe that Port St John's is like the hot spot for if you're getting eaten by a shark.
I think those are
That's
more
where-
Zambesis though.
Zambezi sharks,
but
okay.
The shark expert can maybe shed some light on
Yes,
this.
on that as well. Yeah, we can talk about that too. But before we go there, Fires, I know that you we had all the guys in from your famed EP cricket team that did so well with Kepi a little while ago, and you're doing a live version of that at the Bridge Street Brewery. So
Correct.
with who's going to be there? Who's going to
Well, I'll tell you what, we've got pretty much the gang that was here, which is Tim Shaw, Clive Wolfson, Mark Rushmere.
Yeah.
Dave Callahan's got a business commitment, so he unfortunately can't be there. We've
Callahan,
contacted Brett Schultz, Mary Pringle will be there.
Okay, fantastic.
Let me not leave anybody out. We've asked Kenny McKeown to be along. to come along.
Okay, fantastic.
So the 26th of October, and then again on the 2nd of November.
Okay.
And like you said, for your shows, our tickets are also selling quite fast.
Excellent. So you've got to get them.
Yeah,
Get
and
them soon.
People can contact the Bridge Street Brewery for tickets. They're 160 Rand a pop, and that includes snacks.
Okay, let me just pull
So
these
we're
mics
looking
closer
forward
here.
to a really nice get together, and
Yeah.
it's called Chumps to Champs, and what
Yes,
it basically
Chumps to Champs. I
and
like that.
Pagey and Lammy will know. In the early days, and certainly prior to Kepler's arrival, we were basically the whipping boys.
Yeah.
You know, and the theme is really how could a team that was really so cuck suddenly start winning? I think 6 or 7 trophies in a very short space of time.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of banter.
The interesting part, I think, is the stories, and
Correct.
what I like to hear as well is the backstage antics. You know, what
Absolutely.
was going on behind the scenes.
There was a hell of a lot going on behind the scenes, and
I'm sure you'll get in there. You'll certainly get a candid explanation because with it not being online and live, it's like always you get into the meat of it.
very much so. But as Bob Geldof said, buy the tickets.
Yes, buy the tickets,
Yeah.
and you'll have a good time, and
We
it's going to be
want-
lovely in that venue.
Yes,
I
very
think
much.
it's Bridge Street Brewery is great. John, of course, ex-VP
Yeah,
there as well.
yeah, he's head boy.
Yeah, is he head boy? Was he
Ironically,
head boy?
his son was also the head boy. Lovely guy.
Yes, okay.
Yeah, so John's driving it, and obviously we as players are also helping with the punting of the show and so
Fantastic.
on. So, we look forward to a
I
nice.
think it's a
nice
great
evening.
idea. I think it's a fantastic idea. So it'll be firing all cylinders live.
Well, again, thanks to this show. I mean, this show really cast or planted
Net
the
out,
seed.
Put
So
the net
thank
out
you.
there. It's a pleasure, an absolute pleasure. Well, Faiz, I think it's time for me to leave you here.
Where are you off to?
Well, I'm just going to watch from backstage for a little bit because I believe
The dogs
you've
are
got
there.
your guys on, and you can chat to your mates. Hugh Page he was on the show a little while back.
Yeah.
And I was watching from I think he's such a storyteller, absolutely
Jesus,
brilliant.
don't get him onto the jokes.
No.
Don't get him onto the jokes because I promise you, he won't stop.
Oh my word.
He used to tell me a joke. If I saw him 4 times a year, he told me the joke 4 times in the year.
he's gonna moan at you now.
Until eventually I'd say to him, Pagey, it's about the 26th or 7th time I've heard the story. And Pagey, for what it's worth, it was the one about the woman chewing the balls or whatever it was. Jesus, God.
I won't even go there.
But no,
Don't
he's
sound like a very-
he is a fantastic
Yes,
storyteller, and
absolutely.
it's wonderful to have him on board.
But maybe what we should do before I go is chat to your chap with about the fishing story, the sharks and the fishing. Is that,
Yeah, I think, if I may say, I send the pictures to Lammy and also to Pagey. I know Lammy enjoys fishing as well.
Yeah.
And what's quite interesting is I was sort of half expecting Lamby to say to me,
Yeah.
now, what is going on here? And I mean, I'm not qualified to answer those questions.
Yeah.
So I thought, let us get a shark expert on here to find out what exactly is going on there.
Yes.
And I mean, it's absolutely amazing. There have been 2 deaths there recently.
Yeah.
And there have been some incredible sightings. So, we thought it
So
might be.
chat.
Yeah, so maybe let's say hello to Lamby and Pagey.
Yes. Okay. Well, let's. Shall we bring the two of them on just to say hello quickly? Hello. Hello. Hello.
Lamby, how are you?
Hello, boys. How are you?
Nice to see you, my mate. Always good to see you. Never a dull moment with you.
I see you still got something in your hand.
Yeah.
Well,
sleep
it's
with
Thursday
that.
night. No. Cut off time at 10. Curfew.
Okay.
How are you? How are you,
All
Lamby?
good. All good.
Good. Nice to see
I
you.
think winter's starting to come in. So, we're battling down the hatches here.
Yeah, is it pretty cold there at the moment?
No, it's still quite mild, but the forecast is not so good.
Okay.
Okay, and whilst on the subject of the sharks, how fascinating were those photographs that have been shared on the internet about what's
Well,
going on at Plet?
I can tell you, I'll be sitting in the beach bar. I won't be wandering out. Wow,
It's
those are
unbelievable.
And that's incredible about those dolphins. I mean, what were they
Jeez.
trying to do? Because a dolphin can attack a shark if they're in a pack, can they?
It would appear to be the case, but there you've asked a question. I'm not qualified to answer those questions, so as a consequence, I thought we'd get a shark expert on to do that. So we're going to bring on
Bruce.
Bruce Noble very shortly, but let's say hello to Pagey.
Okay. Just a quick one to say hello, Hugh.
Hello, Ben.
Hello, boys. How's it, boys? How's it?
Always good to see you from the northern suburbs.
Yeah, thanks. Fires.
What wasn't it you who told me the story about Cyril Mitchley always arriving at the ground late?
Oh, yeah. He used
'cause he had
to
a
arrive,
fight-
but
yeah,
he was
yeah.
always late. He said,
Wow,
listen,
Pagey.
boys, I'm not like you ex from the northern suburbs. You jump in your cars and you 15 minutes and you're at the Wonders. He said, I'm from the south. And I had to fight my way here. So that was why he was always late.
We got Bruce there. Okay, Lamby and Pagey, we're going to
Put you backstage. We'll put you backstage.
Yeah, we're going to
Lamby
bring
and
Bruce
Page.
on and chat about these sharks.
Yeah. Let's have a invite Bruce back here again. Here we go. And he's in
Bruce,
the car.
yo, you're looking good there, my man. How are you?
Evening, guys. Can you hear me well enough?
Absolutely.
What have you got there, George?
Yo.
We do. My wife and daughter have been fixing up. We've got load shedding, so they've been fixing up
Oh, man.
a studio for me here.
Oh, lovely.
Okay.
It's working.
Bruce, I'm not sure if you can see Lammy, Allan Lamb. I think you said you've met him.
Yes, when I was very young at the Wanderers too. Yeah.
Jeez,
I
I hope I didn't teach you to bat.
But you guys all taught me how to swear. My dad used to say to me, because he was the doctor then, and when we went into the change rooms, he would take me in, which was a great privilege, But all the guys are standing around in their undies and carrying on, and he said, "Don't repeat any of the words you hear in these rooms ever."
Bruce, as I mentioned to you, well, firstly, in fact, thank you very much for giving us your time. It's great to have you on the show. We're all really fascinated about what's going on in Plet at the moment. Give us some insight as to exactly what's happening there.
Okay, so a quick background. Look, we get white sharks year round. They travel from east to west, west to east. But in the summer months, the sightings of white sharks are very infrequent. They're very rare. It's not a common thing. However, around mid-April, we have the seal pups that have at Robberg Peninsula. The seal pups get born in about December. They use a nursery area right in front there, but around mid-April, they get into the ocean proper and they start swimming up and down. By this stage, they've been nurturing on their mothers. They have got a high-fat content, and they're not very worldly wise. So they are quite easy prey for a white shark. So we have what I've observed I've been observing them since about 2004, started documenting them about 2009. But what I've observed is these guys, come in there, and we have only a handful that have adapted to hunting these seals in shallow water. And they use amazing techniques. They go right against the rocks. You can see one here behind me here. He's just cruising along. They go under the foam, into the crevices, and they hunt these these young seals. Then come up end of October, the date when they leave is varying a little bit, but normally by the end of October they leave. This year, in the last sort of 2 weeks, we've had quite a strange phenomenon. We've got far more white sharks. I did an aerial count by helicopter 2 days ago. And what we saw was an incredibly healthy ocean. I mean, we had dolphins, there were whales, we saw other types of sharks, we saw rays, big fish, small fish, the whole smorgasbord. But we did see 12 white sharks, most of them in the bay, which is, it's not common to have so many here. Now, there can be a few reasons. There is a lot of prey around for them. That's the migration. There's, the seasons have changed. We've got the summer sharks and rays and fish moving down. So there's a lot of prey for them. The whales are having babies. The dolphins are having babies. The water temperature can also play a factor. But I think most importantly in this instance is we've had 2 orca predations in Mossel Bay. Now, their shark population is between 20 and 30 sharks. So the first one was in May. The sharks all left, so they would have come past Plet. Whether they came into the bay or on the outside, I'm sure they did both. And then they would have gone back to Mossel Bay. They arrived back in Mossel Bay 51 days later. And subsequent to that, there was another orca predation. So all these sharks left again. And it's been, I think we're on day 47 or 48. And I believe there might have been 2 sighted yesterday back in Mossel Bay. So there is a chance that these sharks have been displaced from Mossel Bay or another area that we don't even know about and are heading back there. That's why we have more than normal.
Wow. Well, Bruce, take Hans Bay, for instance. I read on the internet on the weekend, in between 2010 and 2016, there were apparently 205 average sightings a year. And I think it was 2019 or 2020, there were only 5 sightings. So it almost seems as if False Bay has been cleaned out and they're moving more or in an easterly direction. I mean, but where's this going to stop? And what is it? What impact is it going to have on Plet?
Look, they don't seem to be resident here. I think the in my opinion, the key here is that these particular sharks, the handful that come back each year, they've adapted. They've learned how to hunt these seals in shallow water. Off the depths, off Bird Island and PE, where we're seeing, I think, a lot of sharks are moving up to, and where we've got these islands with seals on them, their success rate is about 50%. They're hunting from the deep, and so it would be very, it wouldn't be easy to suddenly use up all your energy for 5% catch rate. So it may be not sustainable to have, to have all of them there. I'm not 100% sure, but it's definitely, that you would think that there'd be far more sharks, but when they come past, the transient sharks, they just seem to hang around in the bay in the winter for 2-3 days and then carry on their way. Whereas our little group that we have stays here. And people think we have a lot of sharks. We don't. They're just seeing the same sharks going up and down, up and down, up and down.
It's incredible that they actually that they know that they've been predated. I mean, like one shark gets eaten by an orca, and then the whole lot of them leave. It's like it's crazy how this community of sharks kind of works as well.
It's fascinating, and Alison Tana is doing amazing work on that orca white shark interaction, and she's every time I chat to her, I just learn so much more. It's amazing.
What about the attacks you had in Plet? Wasn't a lady attacked and killed in Plet recently?
Yes, we had 2 fatal incidents in the last 3 months. Yes, the last one was previous Sunday. And she was swimming from the Beacon Island Hotel to Central Beach it was spring low tide, so it wasn't very deep all over, but where she was, where the incident took place, there's a little bit of a trough, a bit of a drop off. So it was, even though it was low tide, it was probably about 2 meters. And you didn't see the shark before the bite, only after. And it basically came in, gave her a bite, released her, and swam away. And unfortunately, the trauma just from that bite is just too much,
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
But I mean,
yeah. Sorry, Lammy.
this whole thing about pled, I mean, it's really not going to get anyone swimming now.
Well, look, we've actually, prior to the incidents, we were already busy with a program, shark human mitigation program. And and everybody was working in different spheres. I work with lots of researchers. There were other guys in pled working on this and that, corresponding with the municipality. But after the first incident, they formed the pled shark action group. So all the intel could be combined, and we could sort of work towards the same sort of outcome. And that has speeded up a lot of things, and we've including a lot of experts in the field from various different angles. So there are short-term solutions that we're going to be implementing. Look, nowhere's going to be shark-proof. You can't make anywhere shark-proof. But we're looking at a spotting program. We've already got additional lifeguards. We're looking at for the use of perhaps an exclusion barrier, exclusion net. It's not a net like in a tull that kills anything. It's just an exclusion barrier that gets put out in the morning, pulled out in the afternoon. We're looking at that possibly for Central Beach. We're working with guys that have incredibly sophisticated shark recognition software. So even on a bad day, it'll be on a camera in position. It can pick up a shark swimming. And all of those sort of things. So I think at the end but for season, look, we are fortunate that the white sharks are here in winter months. Summer it's very difficult to find a white shark, but all those measures will be in place by then. We have signage going up on the beaches right now. We have 12 shark bite kits at various locations, various popular beaches. So there's a lot going on, and then there's obviously the future plans. We're working with various different organizations looking at future mitigation methods, and we'll also be tagging the sharks next year.
Okay, so you know where they're hanging.
We'll know where the ones that we've tagged are hanging. We can't know where the transient ones are coming.
Are you satellite tagging them?
We'll probably do both sat tags and acoustic tags.
Yes. And
are you looking for more volunteers to go out and tag them, or are you?
Page will gladly help you.
To swim around for us.
We call him the Great White.
But just as a matter of interest, what is the talk in Plet about the impact or the negative or the possible negative impact on tourism?
So look, I mean, it's two major tragedies for Plet. The community is obviously they've been very upset, but on the whole, it is so unfortunate, the two incidences, plus where the bites occurred. Had they been somewhere else, it would have had a different outcome. So you've got, that unfortunate, really, really unfortunate situation. But then again, we are dealing with sharks that are swimming up and down in the same area. So it's the same for the Eastern Cape and the whole of the Southern Cape. If you have a look at shark incident data, you will see it's happening in winter when the least people are in the water. So, it doesn't really make sense. If you look at Florida and those sort of places, it's all summer. Everyone's in the water. There's a lot of fish. There's a lot of small sharks. And that's where their incidents. But ours are opposite. So we are having more contact. We're getting more in contact with the white sharks. And 99.999% they swim past you. But they are curious. I mean, there's a whole host of reasons why, shark can bite. But in terms of the tourism side, there's two angles. Look, we have had this, the town always rallies together. We've got a wonderful town. No matter what they face, they always rally together, get things done. It's incredible like that. But I don't think we're seeing, from the tourism side, I don't think we're seeing any cancellations due to that as yet. Maybe there won't be. I know it's buzzing for December. And obviously with the mitigation methods in place, it's going to make people feel a whole lot safer. It is going to be a whole lot safer. Plus, there's also very few sharks in the summer in the area. But we also have on the other side of the coin, we got shark tourism. So when I started documenting the sharks on Robberg, there'd be 2 cars in the parking lot. Now we have film crews from all over the world. We have people from all over the world with long lenses, cameras, and I battle to find a parking up there. So there is a shark tourism, and we've got to look after those sharks because at the moment we have had boats driving over them, chasing them, and if they change their patterns too much and they can't, hunt in their normal behavior, those sharks might leave or spend time somewhere else where they shouldn't. So we've got to. I think it's critical that we look after, number one, shark tourism and obviously human shark mitigation. We need those methods in place. Make our guests feel safe and be safe. And I think with those various methods,
And Bruce, just as a matter of interest, where, in your opinion, do these sharks go in the summer months?
So our local residents, I have no idea, and I'm dying to tag them to find out. They arrive so close together. I'm literally, I'm not lying to you. If I told you they arrive on the 16th or 17th of April, first three will arrive together.
Wow. Yes.
When we had an orca incident on the 2nd of October this year, we're not sure what it was, but the orcas were in the bay. Our sharks disappeared. 45 days later, on the 15th of September, 5 arrived together. So, those sort of things, and we get this from, the info is a little bit anecdotal, but it's from aeroplanes, from guys that spotted them, from 0 sightings to 5 in 1 hour. 5 different sharks. So to me, is going to be incredibly, interesting information. I mean, we're trying to do various ID picks but I don't, none of ours seem to be tagged from anywhere else. And our listening stations are a little bit further out, not right on the coastline. So we're hoping to put in some new listening stations, do some tagging, and then we'll find out where they go and if they go as a little team.
Yeah, lovely.
And just lastly, are there people swimming at Plet at the moment in the sea? Are the guys surfing, or is it closed?
Look, the beaches are open, but it's up to the lifeguards and everybody that's involved. And at the moment, there's been no swimming, just because of purely the high pressure. So all the lifeguards, although the lifeguards are on duty, they're basically there to warn people at the moment. The beaches,
taking a chance.
Oh well, thank you very, very much. Lamby, Page, Gino, you got any more questions for Bruce?
No, that's fine. Bruce, I'm just stoked that Plet is also doing so well. George is just exploding at the moment with people and growth, and I hope it's the same is happening there in Plet. We love Plet, and we've got to work together as the Eastern Cape. We've got to work together to bring tourists in and get the word out.
Oh yeah, no, definitely. Yeah, we're seeing a huge semigration type. Since COVID, people moving down, they can work from Plet instead of the hustle and bustle of Joburg and all of that goes with it. So we've got a lot of people moving down here, all age groups at the moment.
Magic. And we've got Duncan Brown down there as well. He's got the spa there. We're always doing shows there too.
Yes, so he's got a great spa, award-winning spa.
Yeah, very much so.
I'm coming down at the end of the year, but I will meet you in the Lookout Beach Bar. I don't think I'll be going for a snorkel. I'll give you a ring when I come down.
Listen, that swimming pool at the hotel at the Beacon Isle could be quite busy.
Perfect, with some binoculars and a nice bottle of Shannon, we'll be fine.
Lovely.
Bruce, thank you very, very much. Sorry, Gino.
No, thank you for having me. Thanks for having me on the show.
Cheers, absolute pleasure. I'll be in touch with you.
Okay, there we go.
Lamby, well, that answers all the questions.
There we go.
Yeah, that does. That means dry land for me. That's it.
100%, 100%. So we bring Page in here.
I'm gonna.
He might be having a sleep
Actually, I'm thinking of Lambie's last knock. I can't stay awake.
were you one of the bowlers?
No, that was the thing. He made Kepler Vessels look like Viv Richards.
Pagey was the only one who bowled with the Labrador.
Remember I said to you earlier, the Labrador.
Yeah.
Jeez, we needed, in Lamby's mind, we need a Labrador to get around there.
The stick.
Yeah.
Just an interesting thing. The song played in the intro was a song written by Gino, was it not?
Yeah, well, myself, Gary, and Wayne Callis, we did a song a little while ago for the Warriors.
I saw that.
Correct. About St. George's.
The IPL, yeah.
And
bringing home the cup, So we hoped at that time, but it didn't happen then.
Well, interestingly enough, I think, would I be right in saying, Lammy, your last game at St. George's was when you won the Currie Cup in about 82, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, it could have been.
Before you went to
Belfast. He doesn't go back that.
He was in the B stream, eh? He wasn't A stream.
No.
So I can remind him. I didn't even play there, but he played there when he came out with and played for Free State.
We're talking about St. George's
Park.
Park.
Get the fixture list. Yes.
Page used to bowl on one leg. He was like, he used to bowl quick off spinners.
Let me. There's no doubt that the two of you are going to have a go at each other tonight. But on a serious note, I'm almost 100% correct in saying Lemmy's last game at St. George's, which is what the song was about, or partly, they walked off there with the Currie Cup, and your last game at St. George's, you walked away there with your tail between your legs.
Oh, Pagey.
A true story. Well, the Transvaal.
I wasn't playing in that game, man.
Yes.
I was lucky.
Pagey, I see that watch you got. Is that a diving watch for you to go down to Plato?
I looked at that earlier, Lammy.
That looks like a clock. Where did you get that thing?
He's got a sponsor.
I looked at it earlier. You need to go to the gym to wear a watch like that. Jeez, that Pagey.
No, that's I put it away.
I did it away, man. Jeez.
Lammy,
I know you can't go the time, and you, Jesus.
Yeah, but Lammy, how was that Dunnel? Was it good? Dunnel.
Special. But we came the second day. We had sort of winds, gusts of up to 60 mile an hour and pouring rain. I mean, I've never played in conditions like that. But, everyone was in the same boat, and it was great fun. But we did get wet.
Score?
Yeah.
Score?
How many? Score, yeah.
Oh, no, we went up we were 9 under on the first day, and then we went to 16 under on the second day. So all we needed was 4 points, 5 points on the third day. And I got to say, I got on the drive on the first tee at Carnoustie, big wind blowing, and I duffed it. I topped it and went straight into the burn, and it went west after that. I just couldn't get my game right. So anyway, we ended up with 18 under and way down the ladder.
Way down. In 60 mile winds.
Well, that on the Tuesday, it was on the Thursday. That's when the winds and the rain came. But then that was the Friday, sorry, and then Saturday. Was just a really strong wind, no rain.
And do you have the same 4-ball throughout, or do you change?
No, you have the same pro. So I had a Frenchman called Julian Brun, really lovely guy. And he was 10 under at one stage on Friday.
Jesus.
And we turned for home on the back 9 into that gale force winds, and he dropped 5 shots and ended up 5 under. But you see, I was a bit lower than him, so I could hit the ball a bit lower. So I managed to keep us going,
Yeah. Sorry, Page. No.
So,
I know you're trying to rip him.
Pagey we shouldn't really be talking about golf because Pagey doesn't know much about golf. I've seen him try to play at Port Alfred in that wind. The ball goes past him.
Was he not good?
So you know what happens. So we go to Port Alfred. We used to go nearly every year, and I used to catch up with Lammy. And in the end, I try to avoid him because he's actually a pain in the ass, And he only needs like 3 or 4 hours sleep a night. He's not he's not normal.
No, we know that.
Listen, Father Christmas. Okay. Don't worry, carry on. I got a bit of ammunition in here.
Anyway, so we decided we used to go. I on holiday. I don't know about you, Gino, but normally when I go to when you're on holiday, us Vardies, and we have that sun. by 10 o'clock, I'm ready to hit the sacker. I've had a big day, especially with Lamby. You go out fishing early in the morning. I mean, he comes past your place at 4:20 to fetch you for fishing.
I don't know what that's about.
No, and then takes you out to sea. So anyway,
Yes, like.
Yes, and he feeds the fishes too.
So anyway, so we when he doesn't go out to sea, he goes up the river, and he's with a mate of ours called Pete Thompson. I've introduced the two of them years ago. I'm talking 15, 20 years ago, and they go upstream all the time now. And when they can't go out to sea, they go upstream, and we stay on the old part of the river there, the Kawi. And whenever I see their boat coming back, I always ask them for fish, and they never got fish.
Never have.
So I never got fish. So I told the people that there's a rumor, because there were a couple of guys there, locals, who saw what was going on, and they reckon Lamby and Pete used to find a nice shady spot when it was hot. They didn't even wet a line. They used to fix each other and then come back up. No wonder they had no fish, because they didn't have time. So anyway, we were told, and everyone was laughing at the story because it was at their expense and that. And then we go to Pete Thompson's house one night, a couple of days after this rumor started gathering momentum. And Pete Thompson's missus makes the most amazing snacks of that. And as you know, I'm quite handy with the knife and fork. And there were two last snacks, and they were beautifully done with these cracker biscuits with a creme fraiche and a bit of salmon, and I thought it was a caper on the top. Anyway, so they put a bloody Viagra in that thing, and they hid it in the creme fraiche. Yeah, and so I thought it was the caper. So I chowed both those last two snacks, and a while later I was wondering why my head was. I felt like I'd been welding. My face was glowing. And the next thing,
high blood pressure.
Yeah, the next thing, I get to the bottom of my drink, and I'm thinking, this thing, Jesus, it tastes terrible. What is this? It's soapy. They stuck another one, full volume.
But you said you were struggling over the holidays.
I promise you. It's like an Audi airbag. You bump that thing the next day.
Well, I've got to say, we went down to pick him up for fishing the following day. He didn't need a rod, I can tell you.
Jeez, I'll tell you.
He was trying to get someone to cast it for him.
You see,
I was trying to get something on the end of it.
Yeah, but I got to tell you, we go up the river too. Now they have the annual nude skiing. So all these guys go skiing. And they go down the river, down to the middle. And everyone
young guys like Baywatch.
And it's unbelievable. So Page and I decide this is it. So we get some carrots and we put them in our Speedos, and we're gonna go. Right? So
remember we bought those masks, those wigs. Remember, so that no one could recognize us.
So Page said, "Of course, they can't wear a Speedo. You know, you got to go to Calcutta, as they say." So anyway, we've got a boat, a speedboat. It's got 2 500s on. Okay.
Jeez,
500s on.
Those were 2 500s. This is when Pagey wasn't a racing snake. So we hung these cucumbers just down and looked like we were, looking quite good.
We had a stocking tied around our waist with this cucumber.
From a distance.
I got to tell you, that 500 couldn't even pull us out. I promise. I think Pagey was stuck in the mud there, boy, and eventually it whipped me up, and Pagey was still lying in the water. People were going mad with their lenses and that. They thought they'd never seen tripod before.
But the funny thing is, we were floating there, waiting for these young oaks to come, because they come. There's 7 skiers behind a boat, all with no kit on, only their red Father Christmas cap. So we're standing there waiting, because we can't. They ski right from the mouth there, virtually, all the way around the caravan park and back. I mean, yeah, they're proper skiers. And Lammy's a good skier, but I'm not so good, eh? But we're waiting for these things. and we got this cucumber in the water. It's floating, and I got this African wig on, which is now starting to slop a bit. And the two of us are laughing. Yeah, so
But
did
Pagey,
pull me
what
out a
about-
little bit, but not really
Pagey,
far.
what about when you were Father Christmas? So in the marina, you get a Father Christmas, and he comes on this boat, and he gives all the little kids a present, and and then he gets a beer, and he goes to the next house, gets it in the boat, and they're cruising along like that. And Pagey's on the front there, and everyone's Happy Christmas, Father Christmas, and where's my present? And old Pagey's there having a few shots, and he's going around there. Next minute, the boat hits a sandbank. Father Christmas double somersault straight into the water. I've never seen a drowned Father Christmas before, but my God, we had a laugh.
Well, I'm just picturing those guys coming at the back of the boat with all flipping stalkers. It must have looked like Howard Hughes's flipping multi-prop boat.
But Lamby, have you not sold?
What I was
Yeah, sorry, Pagey. Carry on.
what I was doing was, while we were waiting for them to come, because they take a while, and you can see them coming from. I was in the water, and I was trying to give a bit of vip there, so that by the time I came out, I looked like a white senior.
But he's trying to fit the cucumber.
What about old Barak going down the bloody... We went to a party and he dressed up as Barak. Well, you've never checked anything like it. Away.
But Lamby, have you not sold them?
Yeah, I'm out of there. That place is not room for both of us.
So what are your plans at the end of the year? Are you coming over to South Africa?
Yeah, we're coming over. I'm coming over for a mate's wedding.
Okay.
And then from
The guy that he fixes upstream there, Pete Thompson.
and then we're gonna head down sort of just after Christmas. We're gonna head down towards Cape Town and go to Platt and just stop on the way down, you know.
Yeah, they can meet Bruce in the pub there.
Yeah, Bruce in the
Rather than in the ocean.
I tell you what, I've got a story. Alan. The first time I saw you on television, I mean, I was a youngster watching you playing cricket, and I remember I was watching with my dad, and Charles Fortune was doing the commentary, and he said Clive Rice coming into Allan Lamb. And he said, "That's my favourite dish, rice and lamb curry, and curry, Alan Curry."
Alan Curry.
He actually he said, "No, that's actually my favourite dish." He went off on a tangent talking about rice and lamb.
He was
The dish or
a
the
wonderful
lamb?
man.
No, he wasn't.
Did you guys know him then?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I met him. Yeah, I think Pagey must have been a bit too young.
No, I caught the end of him, eh?
Yeah.
As it were.
I was telling Gino earlier. In fact, we were talking about Charles Fortune earlier.
Yeah.
And I was telling Gino the story after the game at the Wanderers, especially. Eric Rowan would come in with his little dog. He'd have a couple of guys with him. And Charles Fortune came in the one evening. And Jeff Cook, for some other reason, had a pair of glasses on like yours, Pagey. And he had no lenses in them. And Charles Fortune said to him, "Bye, Joe, I didn't know you wore spectacles." And he said, "I don't."
Bring his finger in
He was
his eye.
scratching his eye with the glasses.
No. But it was an interesting guy. I mean, he always used to go off on a tangent about all sorts of things. And very descriptive the way he did it. I think he was probably from radio, I would imagine.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah, he was.
In
He was
fact,
only radio.
Yeah, and in fact, some of those old commentaries are now gradually coming out of the woodwork, and you can find them on the internet and so on.
But cricket then and cricket now as well, it's changed so much in terms of those. We lose those little things. The fact that everybody had scuttlebras out on the thing, there was so much smoke. I don't know if you guys must have played through plumes of smoke.
But,
I think a lot of smoke landed on Lammy's head. Check his colour of his hair.
and the ashes. I think I'd keep quiet if I was you.
This last time I used your shampoo, that's for sure.
But so Lammy, if we can go back to you, if you don't mind. Give us some background now. Where did cricket start for you?
Well, Cape Town, really. We grew up in sort of Langebaan, where my dad was in the Air Force. He was a pilot there, and then he probably used to go and play cricket on a Saturday, and I used to go around probably hit a ball so probably that would probably got me off playing in that, and then we moved to Cape Town, and then I sort of just picked it up, and I loved rugby too. So those were the two sports I played: rugby and cricket throughout the schooling.
Were you lock? Japanese lock.
You wouldn't have caught me.
Where did you play?
No, I was fly off centre.
Okay. At Wynberg.
Yeah, at Wynberg. Rugby, I got to say, probably if I didn't go overseas and stayed in South Africa, I would have probably, I loved the game. I would have carried on playing it. So, I played it quite good. I got into Western Province A team, the under 20s and the A team and the and
did you have to choose? Did you have to choose between the two eventually? Or?
Yeah, so I came back. I think it was 1980. I came back because I was allowed to still come back and play, but as an overseas player for Western Province, up to 82. 81 was my last. Yeah, 81 was my last season, I think. Yeah, because I started playing for England in 82. So, so I think it may have been 79. We came back and we had a bit of time before the cricket started. So I went and played. I used to play for villages. And so I went and played in their second team just to stay fit and whatever. And then all of a sudden they had an injury, and Mornay du Plessis was captain of villages, and they were playing, I think, the Ikeys in the semi-final. I said, no, I can't play it. I haven't even got proper boots. And Mornay then was looking after Adidas. So he said, no, Lamby, I've got boots for you, no problem. We'll get you out. Anyway, I ended up playing, and we got absolutely smashed. I mean, we only lost, I think it was 28-22. But, I mean, it was – I've never been in such a physical game in my life. My jersey was half pulled off, raked marks on my back and everything. And I came down and I sat down on the bench, and everyone was sitting there. And I thought, no, this is it. I said, Mornay, thank you very much for the boots. And I put them on the bangers, and I said, I'm out of here, boy. I'm not playing again. So that was my last game.
And Lamby, that would have been at a time when Western Province cricket and rugby was really strong. I mean, guys like from a cricket point of view.
Yeah, Province had a good side then. And
who was playing with you at that time in Province?
Garth Leroux, Peter Kirsten.
That incredible side.
Yeah,
Eddie Barlow.
Eddie Barlow, Peter Swart, Hilton Ackerman. Ackers, yeah. So, I mean, Dennis Hobson.
It's a great side.
So they had a fairly good side. Those sort of, that was it, sort of cricket and rugby, and then then the rugby went away, and that's when I started.
And did you find when you focused on that cricket properly? I mean, you sort of started to train, and did your thing? It gave you that extra time to focus and get further than you would have if you'd carried on course.
I think I only came back to keep fit to play the rugby, because I was I was qualifying to play for England, so we would go over and play 6 months in England, then come back, and then at that time it was sort of professional cricket was sort of trying to develop. It was then the Packer had already started. So Eddie Barlow had come back, and he tried to change the whole thing, and people have got to be paid to play, and that. I think the same thing up when Ricey was up at Transvaal, the same sort of thing was happening. So the money was slowly coming in there.
Yeah. Well, that first lot of West Indies guys that came across as well, that was all
the Rebels.
Yeah, that was really kind of monetizing the whole thing as well, eh?
Yeah.
Well, And let me know, if I may ask, your move to England, was that obviously your dad was born in England?
Yeah, both parents were both
Okay.
born in London, and
Okay.
and they came. My dad came over. His dad was well. My dad was background was Irish, and then came over.
Okay.
He was working as a builder in London, and then
Yeah.
they immigrated. They went. We went to Witbank. That's where they had the house, and he had built a place there. And then my dad, I think he was probably late in his schooling or just, and he joined the Air Force. So
The Royal Air Force.
yeah, became a pilot. You know, fought in the Second World War and Korea and all that type of stuff. So that was basically, I was lucky enough then to go over, but I had to qualify for 4 years. So from 78 to 82, I had to do my qualification. But it wasn't a done thing that, you know, they're going to pick me because, again, the media were quite anti sort of South African coming over because of apartheid and all that type of stuff. So, you know, we had to sort of say the reason I left was because of apartheid, because I knew I'd never play for South Africa. And I didn't think South Africa would get back in my time. And, you know, I ended up playing against South Africa once in that semi-final at Sydney.
The 22
when Mac had to get 28 off the last ball.
Man, were you in that team there?
Yeah. When he walked out, I said to Brian Mack, I said, make sure it's a big one because you need 28, but he wasn't happy, I can tell you that.
No, I'm sure. But and when you went overseas in 78, was it straight to Northampton?
Yeah, straight in Northampton.
Because it's quite strange, you know. Kenny McKeown was telling me a little while ago that although he ended up playing at Essex, he started off in another county and they initially didn't want him. I think, was it Barry Richards or Mark Proctor? One of them also started off at Hampshire. I think it was Procky. He ended up at Gloucester, you know.
Yeah, I think he had a trial at Northampton. I don't think they rated him.
Amazing. He was absolutely
it just shows some of those counties had players. I mean, they could have signed straight away, they didn't. I mean, I didn't have an option basically because they offered Peter Kirsten the contract at Northampton,
really?
And then he went to Derbyshire. So in 1977, we went over on like a trial and played for Derbyshire seconds and a lot of county seconds and that. And then
must have been chaos there.
Chaos. And
the second side.
And then I think they offered it to Peter, and I didn't get a contract. Garth was there too. But then he was going to Stellenbosch, so he was going to come back and play for 3 years in any case.
Yes. Okay.
And they offered it to Peter, so I didn't have anything. And then over Christmas period, one of their board members flew out because you remember Packer, they started banning the players that had played for Packer. So Mushtaq Mohammed and Bishan Beatty, you know, the left arm spinner. They gave them the bullet. So Safraz Nawaz was still there at Northampton. So the overseas players were Safraz Nawaz and myself. They probably didn't even know who I was. So when I came over, the only thing was David Steele and George Sharp both played for Northampton, and they used to come. And they were the coaches at Wynberg where we were. Both of them.
Oh, really?
Steele never coached any. All he did in the nets, we had to bowl at him.
and so were they the two guys instrumental in getting you there?
No, I said to them, I'd love to come. They said, you got no chance of getting in there. It's too tidied up, and you know, it's very difficult to be a foreign player to come in and play.
Yeah.
I did remind them about it.
Did you go on your own steam?
When?
When you went to England in 78? Or did somebody invite you to... Well, 77. Did somebody invite you to Northants?
Yeah, well, Eddie Barlow arranged us to go. Peter Kirsten and Garth got sponsored. And my uncle lived in Joburg. He sponsored my air ticket over to go. Okay. So that's how we got over. And then basically I got offered a contract to come play in 78 over Christmas. So I accepted. I thought this was a chance I've got to take, so I did it. So, but when I ended up playing at Northampton,
for many years.
I don't. When Pagey, when were you there?
I got there in '82 for the first time. Yeah, and then I had a season with Fires in '85. But that was also fun. Jeez.
Yes, you two. Where were you? Was that up in the leagues?
Yeah, Lancashire League.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Unplayable.
Yeah.
And geez, I told you that's a story for another day.
So you guys all played in those leagues. Everybody, the South Africans kind of stick together with that stuff.
Very much so. I'm sure you would have found that as well. Sorry, Pagey.
It was a lot more difficult when you were playing county cricket because they travel great distances and they play so much cricket, whereas we only played on the weekends in the Lancashire League and that. So during the week there was always chaos.
There was. Tell me about it. I see there's some comments here as well. Let's just have a quick
look at the comments here.
Some comments coming in here while we're there. I see Keith Clark's in. Keith Clark is giving us some punters. Where's his punters? Is it behind you there, Fries?
Hello, Casey. Hi, my boy. Good evening, Alan, Huey, Fireball, and Gino. What a show.
There's it. Charles Fortune was the best colour commentator in the business. He described the colours. Is that right?
Yeah, and the birds.
Yeah.
Yes.
Brian Surtees. Garth Webster. Very, very true.
Garth Webster. Jesus. It was nice to see him the other day. I'm glad to see he hasn't lost his kit. He still has all that stuff that you read.
He knows he's fashion.
Do you know him, Lamby? Do you know Garth?
No.
I'm surprised.
So.
Yeah,
I know you. I may do. But
Yeah, no. Look,
He's around the country.
Also soccer as well. He did a bit of soccer and cricket, I think, as well. But he's a fashion guru as well. He's quite a snappy dresser as
Absolutely. He used to wear those.
That's PE fashion, not.
Well, Garth spent a number of years in Joburg, but he used to wear those pointy shoes. And he said he used to say it was the only oak who could get home at night, throw his shoes into the dartboard and jump into bed. Here we got the Sean Pauls.
There's Finkel
Sean Paul's there.
Correct.
See, he was adding Cape Town Stadium to the guide. I'm not sure.
I'm not sure what guide.
Guide he's talking about.
Surely explain, please. We don't know what. Yes. Sorry,
well, they're not moving. Yeah. They've moved the rugby from Newlands to Cape Town Stadium. Maybe that's what they're talking about.
Yeah.
Got to,
there we go. God says he met.
Can you see the comments?
Right. Yeah. Okay, I've got it.
We met
You'll
once
never
with
forget
Dutchman.
The Dutchman. That would have been at Greenpoint at that pub.
Quite possibly.
Go there every Friday.
But so, just going back to your cricket, when did you make your debut for Western Province?
72.
72.
Wow.
Yeah.
Jeez, how old were you?
I was still at school.
Gee whiz.
Wow.
Yeah.
What reminded me about that was Dutchman or Hilton Ackerman.
What he didn't tell you is he had his 21st at school.
Like most of us.
Crazy,
And Lamby, when you first started playing, have you always had that ability to play fast bowling well? Or was it something that you developed over time?
No, I think I just learned it because, when you played sort of league cricket and that, there was proper bowlers around in those days, and then when you came in to play Currie Cup cricket, you had to survive, and you didn't survive against the Rices, the Van der Bijls, the Proctors, all those guys. If you were gone, so there was no one to come and help you. Playing quick bowling or anything, you just had to get out there and do it. It was. But so probably playing on those, and the wickets in South Africa too were fairly bouncy, and there was some good wickets, especially up in Joburg. Cape Town was normally bloody flat. We left it for hobbers to spin the sides out. But I think it just becomes a natural thing, really. The big thing is I feel now what's happened, that the helmets have come in, and people now know they're protected and they don't watch the ball. So more people are getting hit on the head than when you know,
Yes.
when you just had a cap on, because people, and you know, those days you watched the ball and ducked out the way.
And now you mentioned Clive Rice, Vince van der Bijl, Mike Proctor, etc. How would they measure up to the great West Indians that you played against? That you played them well?
Well, I mean, listen, the West Indies were incredible. I mean, they had 6 or 8 really quick guys, and I think the big thing, you know, people used to say, well, they didn't have a spinner. Well, they didn't need a spinner, because if you had 4 of the quicks coming in, you know, they'd take anyone. So, I mean, you know, the Aussies came up and they said, oh, well, you know, we would have beaten the West Indies with when they had Shane Warne in and all this type of stuff. When the Aussies had that great side, I said, no chance. I mean, you would first of all have to get some runs against those quicks. And I always remember those Aussies. They were so frightened of playing the West Indies in Perth. They took the Perth test away, and they went to Tasmania and still lost. So, you know, so those Aussies are big talkers, aren't they?
Yeah.
But you know, I think you've got to put them. I mean, you know, Ricey on his day, quick, Garth LaRue, Procky. I mean, these guys are all up there, you know. So I think I was lucky enough to have played against all the quick bowlers in South Africa. And so when we played against the West Indies, it wasn't such a big occasion. Yes, it was always good to watch from the non-striker's end, and that was probably the safest place to be. But, you know, rotate the strike. I think that's the big thing. And I think this is what's modern cricket now is the way people are playing is you try to rotate the strike and you be positive, because if you're negative and you're defending, your name's on the ball straight away. Yeah.
And Lamby, of all the great quick bowlers you played against, who did you fear the most?
I thought Patterson was the quickest. We played against him on a fairly dodgy wicket in Sabina Park in Jamaica. And I'll never forget, I was on the non-strikers end and he was running into bowl on a fairly sort of bouncy track, but a little bit uneven. And he bowled a ball to David Gower, who fended it off his nose, and it hit the shoulder of the bat and went over third man for 6. So, you know, that to me, I was quite happy to stay at the other end of the wicket. But that was really quick. But I think their best bowler, and I played a lot against him, and you all know him, he came to play in South Africa, was Malcolm Marshall. He was something else.
What made him so good, Lamby?
He was a skidder. He had a cricket brain. He could bowl the in-swinger, out-swinger. He just had everything to him. You know, he worked people out, and no, he was a great, and he could bowl as quick as them all. Yeah.
And going back to Patrick Patterson, I don't know if you've seen that clip on YouTube. It's very sad what's happened to him. Have you seen that YouTube?
Yeah, clip? No, it's very, very sad. Very sad.
What's happened to him?
He can't remember his cricket career. He's got onto, would it be drugs or liquor or whatever it might be? I would assume drugs. And somebody went in search of him, Pagey, and they found him sitting at what looked like a harbour. And the guy was asking him cricket questions. He said, I don't remember, man. You know, and I mean, he can't be that old. And where did you play against him, Lamby?
No, he came. I played his first test match. They had an injury. I think, was it Joel? Someone couldn't play, one of them. And they brought in Patrick Patterson. He must have come down from the Blue Mountains. Jesus. Well, when he arrived, and all we saw when he came was the studs, his big boot used to lift.
Yeah, that's right.
And then he used to deliver that ball. But that would have been 87, probably around about 88, around there when we were.
Yeah, I would say. I remember watching him here in the 90s.
Well, you know, we played against the West Indies. I think what must have been 25 times, even more. And I got to tell you, we beat them once, and that was in Jamaica, you know, at Sabina Park, and that's the only time we've come close. Otherwise, the test matches, they were over in 3 days and 4 days. And we used to improve our scuba diving.
Gee whiz.
Like Page.
Yeah, but like Page.
He's fishing at Bird Island on day 3.
There's some comments there. I see. Remember, Allan Lamb made 3 consecutive centuries against West Indies in '84. Is that right, Alan?
Yeah, that was right. Yeah.
And he still lost.
We didn't win a game. I promise you, those days we didn't win a game.
Yes.
So, Lamby, what would a normal sort of team talk be prior to a test against the West Indies?
Well, we used to get a video out and then have a look what the you're like, oh, we did. We didn't even have a coach. No one was coaching us. You make your own arrangements. And we used to, on like a Wednesday evening, boys get together, announce who the team's going to be, sit down and have a dinner, and then Botham and Gower be sorting out which wine we were going to be drinking. And there was no team talk. We never chatted about the opposition in all my career.
Amazing.
That's amazing. Eh?
Yeah. And
that's crazy.
You captained Curtly Ambrose. I remember many years ago, you told me a story about Curtly Ambrose. Was he quite a difficult to handle on the field?
Yeah, I mean, I can't believe him now. He's brilliant. He chats and he's on TV and he's on radio and everything. God, when he played for us, he didn't say something. You had to really get it out. He used to bowl with a toothpick in his mouth, run in and he was a good bowler, And
great bowler.
I said to him, Curtly, I'd like you to bowl from that end. And he just shook his head. I said, what is the problem? I said, I'm asking if you'd like to bowl from that. Hey, Cappy, man, don't ask me if I'd like to bowl because I don't like bowling. If you tell me, I'll bowl. and that was him, he was unbelievable. But I never forget also what happened was, we have those drug tests, so we've got to go and pee in the bottle and all that. And Curtly got called up, and he goes and does it. And the second one comes, Curtly gets called up again. And now he is furious. He is now thinking everyone's against him, because he's a quick bowler and he's getting all these wickets. He's on drugs and that. Now Curtly never, ever touched any drugs of anything. I don't think he even had a tablet or a headache tablet or anything like that. And he got called up on the third. He got called up, and I had to say to him, listen, he said, man, that is the last time. If they try to do me again, I'm out of here. I'm going back to the West Indies. And you won't believe it. About 2 weeks, 3 weeks later, can't help to think, Curtly Ambrose, in. You've got to go and do it. He said, I'm on my way. I'm out of here, gone. So I said, don't worry. Just give me that fucking bottle. And anyway, I went and had a pee in it and brought it back. He could have been tested positive then, I tell you. So anyway, I managed to keep him at Northampton and everything went crazy. But I mean, can you believe it? 3 occasions he gets called up. I mean, then he thinks there's something going on.
I just see Stuart Potker here watching all the way from USA. How's it, Stuart? Nice to have you on too. It says great show with Allan Lamb.
Shit, I haven't heard from him for a long time.
And Keith Clark as well, Lamby. Please tell them what school is so much better than KES.
He knows the College of Knowledge. Well done, Keith.
Wynberg Boys High.
Yeah, I mean, listen, we used to grow the cannabis, and then we used to pass it on to sell it on to Rondebosch. Rondebosch used to sell it to Sachs. And then old Sachs used to sell it on at a profit to Bishops, and then they got caught and busted.
Jeez, but you've been away, Lamby. Bishops, the water polo has taken off there.
Sure, actually, I would have been a water polo player too.
Well, that's close. That's close to us here in the Eastern Cape,
I promise you, I did play water polo. They used to just kick you in the goons all the time. I mean,
they were much more gentle on the goons when you play now.
And Lamby, going back to captaining England. Would that have been
Well,
the proudest
very-
moment of your
Well, I
career?
have a fantastic record. Played 3 and lost 3.
Against the West Indies.
100% record. 2 against the West Indies and one against Australia.
Jesus. But ultimately, would that be your proudest moment in cricket?
Well, I think probably when I captained England for the first time. And we nearly, I got 100 as captain against the West in Barbados. So that probably would have been fantastic. You know, it was a great thing, but we went and lost the game, and we got a couple of rough decisions at the end. And we were looking to draw the game because we were 1 up in the series, and unfortunately, it was level the series. We had a few injuries going into the last one, and they prepared a fairly quick wicket down in Antigua. You know, Robin Smith got hit on the chin, and he was batting with a bust wrist, and there was various guys that taken a serious blow. And
was that Bishop?
Bishop, Walsh, Ambrose, and who else they had? Goodness, they had another quickie lurking.
Could have been Marshall.
Yeah.
Yes, Marshall. Sorry, Marshall.
Yeah. Jesus.
But I mean, and Hugh, I don't know if Hugh would have played at the same time. I mean, in the early days, there just weren't. There wasn't the protective gear that you have now. There wasn't that. You know, you guys went out there. It was like a bit of bravado. You know, you go and face a bowler without a helmet. You're like not scared of him. You know, was that the vibe? I mean,
no. I just because. You know, when we started, there weren't helmets around, so you just played because that was it. It was only when Kerry Packer, the series started, and I think Hooksy, the late old Hooksy, he had his jaw bust, and they were playing against seriously quick bowlers, and probably the wickets weren't that special because they all drop in wickets, and I think that's changed it. You remember guys were going out. I think Dennis Amos went out with a motorbike helmet, you know.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
I mean, even Barry Richards wore a helmet there.
Yeah, really.
That couldn't have been very comfortable. I mean, there was some serious pace there.
I
mean,
I think it was good watching it.
Yeah, absolutely. And then the Chapels came forward and said they should make the pitches shorter, if I remember.
Wow, that shows you how stupid they are.
And let me know, do you remember that 294 you made against us in Bloemfontein?
Yeah.
I reckon Hollard's nearly went bankrupt that day. Do
Well,
you remember
that? I think on the Wednesday, whatever, we had this cocktail party at the breweries when this was all announced, and all these records were up there, and I said, listen, no one's going to break any of these records. I said, let's just put everything in the pot, and we'll just share it all. You know, and I think that's what happens. I think most sites do it. I think
most sites would,
whatever.
Guys, can I interview? Sorry, guys, I'm feeling wheezy. For some reason, I'm going to go and I'm not well. I'm going to have to excuse myself, please, man.
Yeah,
sorry,
no problem.
Would you?
Yeah. Okay, Pagey.
Sure, Page.
She's a Pagey.
He's probably looking at my face. He's gone.
No, he was unusually quiet tonight.
Yeah, he was.
He's got trough coming up. He's been called for dinner. So
Shame, correct.
No, I hope he's okay. He didn't look too good.
No, he didn't, and it's unusually quiet. But
where were we?
So you decided that everything would go in the pot.
Yeah, so I said none of these records will get broken, and my goodness, the first game, you know, Joe Stratham and myself broke the partnership, the Graham Pollock and Wilmot record, which no one said would ever be broken. Then I broke Ray Gripper's, getting that 294. You know, it just all happened, and then you know the catches and. But I mean, I never even thought of that would happen.
Well, I'll tell you what I remember. What I remember vividly. Sorry, Lamby. What I remember vividly about that game was, Jabez Stratham came in and Paul Raymond. He nicked Paul Raymond off to Kepler, and Kepler dropped him on 3. And by the end of play, I mean, you must have been close to 200. I think Jabez would have been close to 100. And if you remember, the game was played at the Technicon. Was it the Technicon in Bloem or the
No,
University
at the
field?
university ground.
Yeah, and the small changing room. So we had 2 changing rooms. So we all went into the changing room that Kepler was in.
Yeah.
And Paul Raymond sat below Kepler on the floor, and he lit a stinky Winston cigarette, a toasted cigarette that was going up Kepler's nose. And Kepler said, well, what have you learned today? And Pira, in that inimitable style of he said, to hold your catches. I don't think he played another game for 3 months. But what had actually happened, and just to fill Gino in, Hollards had put various forms of sponsorship in. Now, I can't remember the exact detail. There was 10 grand if you made a double 100 or something.
Oh, right.
10 grand if you put in 100.
No, God, no. It was 100 for, it was, if you broke, it was 100 if you broke the Currie Cup record. It was 50,000 for
100K.
100K. Oh,
100K,
wow.
yeah. And it was 50. It was 50K for breaking the partnership. You know, the record
Yes.
partnership. And then there was, I think, 20K if you got a hat trick, and then you got 10K or 5K if you got three catches or something. Remember, Stephen Jeffries got 9 for.
On that, no, you got a 10 for.
You got a 10 for. Yeah, and I was the only one who didn't get out. So I said, Beauty, just remember
Quite correct.
that I've played against you enough.
That's quite
I think it
correct.
was
Lamby.
that. So
You were
yeah,
not
there was a
out.
lot of money. They were. I mean, poor Ali Bakri had to go. They were. I don't know how much they lost in the end. I mean, my God, they were. Ali said it'll be about 50,000 or 100,000 sponsorship. They were in for 200 on the first game.
Correct.
Yeah.
In Bloem. And this was a game, if you remember, where Sylvester Clark, who had been shown with respect to the dead, he had been standing on the sideline next to a little caravan drinking cane and coke on the last afternoon. And he was sent out to bat. And the late Rudy Coetsen said to him, would you like guard? He said, no, man, I've been here before. And Rod bowled him that, I think it was the last ball of the innings, and he smashed it out the ground there.
Yeah, I think Kepler ran up to Rod and said, listen, he's going to be waiting for a short ball. So,
quite correct.
Pitch it up. Well, he was on the back foot, but he just pitched it up a little bit too much. And the thing went, and he hit it straight out the ground, a massive 6, and he just walked off. He went and sat down because we just taught him how to drink cane and coke.
Jeez,
and
copious
that
amounts.
was he used to sit there and mainstay. I have 2 bottles before he left the dressing room.
Jeez,
and just talking about Sly, how did you rate him, Lammy? Was he up there with the rest of them?
He was sharp. I think he had a little kink in the arm with that quicker ball. But he used to make you known. He was up there.
And tell me now, just digressing,
I love the kink in the arm.
Yeah.
I think he had a little kink in the arm.
you might. Keith Clark wants to know, what is it like to face Colin Croft?
Colin Croft.
Crofty. Well, I'll tell you a story about Crofty. Crofty, when they used to have nets for West Indies, Crofty used to come off 17 paces at Viv Richards. And anyway, I mean, bomb them. And then Crofty became a pilot, right? And Viv heard this and they said, listen, I can tell you one thing. When I board that plane and I sit down and I hear, this is your Captain Croft speaking, I'm out of that window as quick as possible. No, he was lethal because he used to go wide of the wicket, really wide, and then slide it in. A little bit like Sylvester, but Sylvester was, wasn't so angled as Crofty.
Yes. Okay. Yes.
But I mean, gee, he could ping it down too.
Properly. Oh, he's an unbelievable strike rate.
And spin bowlers, your most hectic spin bowlers, we weren't in the Shane Warne era.
I didn't play. Unfortunately, I didn't play against him because we were going to play against Australian Academy, and what happened was the late old Marshy too, and Marshy said he wasn't fit enough. He had to go lose some weight. So he never played in that academy game. That would have been the first time I would have seen him or played against him. That was a tour down under. Yeah. And you look at Shane's record, it's just incredible. I mean, wow. I mean, a leg spinner like that. I mean, he was just
incredible.
Act all round, really.
Yeah.
But the spin bowler I played against, who probably didn't get the ignition he should have was a guy called Abdul Qadir, and he played for Pakistan.
Yes.
I mean, he was a proper bowler, so he would have been the best left arm spinner.
And it's funny how these guys don't get the recognition when the time comes. I suppose you always find these guys that perhaps something happens, an injury or something. So I see Stuart Potgieter is asking who is the best bowler you faced. So I suppose fast bowlers, you'd probably look at Malcolm Marshall.
Yeah, Malcolm Marshall. Yeah. I played against Dennis and Tomo. We got Dennis and Tomo towards the end of their career, you know. But I mean, Dennis was incredible. I mean, if you think about Dennis, and then we take great batsmen, and you know, I look at the two best batsmen I ever saw were the two Richards, Viv Richards and Barry Richards. Yes. And Barry, and Barry Richards got 300 in a day against Lilly, Renneberg, Connolly. I mean, and Massey.
Unbelievable.
I mean, can you believe that? I mean, that is just phenomenal. I mean, and Donald Bradman, I mean, he was the greatest player I'd ever seen, and you know, and the rest of the world never really saw enough of Barry because he was a class act.
There's a question for you there.
Dean Allen, hello Dino.
Talk about Viv Richards. Any stories from Taunton? Nights out with Beefy and company. I'm a Somerset boy now living in PE. Says
Many nights out with Beefy.
Yeah, to tell him a couple of sore heads when we went down to Taunton.
Do you see much of Beefy, Lammy?
Yeah, he played up in the Daniel.
In the Daniel.
Yeah.
And, how's he doing?
He's enjoying him. The body's in not great shape, but he's
just Beefy both of them.
Yeah, he said he's got to go and have his knee done. His right knee's gone again. So
he's a lord now, is he not?
Hey,
is he not a lord now?
He's Lord both of them.
Yeah, Lord Botham.
Lord Botham
now.
Good. No. Beefy, he's in good form, to be honest.
What a great cricketer. You have obviously great memories of playing with him, Lammy.
Yeah, I mean, listen, he was a guy, you know, he was a little bit like, I would say, Eddie Barlow, you know, give me the ball and I'm going to bowl the side out. Or I'm going to go and get 100, you know. That's how they were competitive. That's what all-rounders are like, you know.
Yes.
And you know, he was a guy who just believed in himself, and he was incredible. But talking about people, I've just finished Oscar Calypsi's book.
Gee,
and
unbelievable.
Just hold on 1 second, guys.
Sure.
I'll be with you.
You need a power cable.
Power. Power. It's,
I just see there's a question for Mikey as well. I see Jonathan Miller's put something up for Fires while you're busy with your cable there. Let's give Fires the mic there.
You know Johnny? Jono, the guitarist.
Yes. What is that?
He used to play that Bob Dylan song, Joker Man.
Oh, yes.
Beautifully. And every time I saw him, I'd say, would he play? Or every time I saw him performing, I'd say, play that song.
All right.
Yeah, he played it superbly. Jono, nice to hear from you.
Sure.
Lovely guy.
Oh, man.
Okay, we're back up and running.
We're back. Oh, brilliant.
Yeah, you were talking about Beefy.
Yes. Well, when you say he was the best all-rounder that you played with against?
Yeah, I mean, listen, he made things happen when we played. But, I mean, if you have a look at all-rounders, records, Gary Sobers, the guy with the best record is Jacques Callis.
Really? Absolutely.
Really?
But, you know, Jacques used to go and get those big hundreds and then come in and get wickets. But he wasn't a guy that just, you know, came in and turned it around. Where like, you know, Hadley or Imran Khan or these guys used to come in and just change a game. Sobers
it's
and
a
that.
big personality as well comes with it, I suppose.
Oh God, yeah. That's what sort of made him, you know, who he is and what he does. And I think that's what sort of, you know, they want to show a bit of aggression and say, hey, you know, move over.
They come with a bit of kudos behind them, perhaps. You know? It's like, do you think they intimidate the other players?
Yeah. You know, interestingly enough, you spoke about Barry Richards getting 300 in a day. That game where you got the 294, if you remember, he got 294, Jabez Stratham got 100, Kepler got 100 in each innings. And it was a 3-day game. One, I think, in the last ball of the day. But I mean,
Yeah,
to
it
think
was.
of all those runs.
I mean,
all those runs
the 294 we got in the day.
That's correct. It was unbelievable. All those runs in 3 days. And you still get a result.
That was incredible to get a result out of that.
Yeah, unbelievable game of cricket. And I mean, you guys were in shit. You were 50 for 3, I think, when Jabir walked in.
Yeah.
I think Alvin Kalicharan played for you.
Yeah.
Ali bent the rules.
We were allowed. Ali, you remember Ali allowed the Free State then to have 3 overseas players. That was myself, Sylvester Clark, and Cali.
Yeah, every other province
then,
could have one.
we had Alan Donald.
Jeez, a hell of a side.
Yeah,
Jeez.
and what was
Corrie?
his name? Corrie
Van
van
Zyl.
Zyl. Yeah,
Quite
so
correct. It's a hell of a side.
Great team.
Great side.
Yeah.
And Lamby, just a quick thing. County cricket when you first started versus county cricket today? Chalk and cheese or?
I mean, county cricket now, the thing is they don't play against, we were lucky in those days because when you came over, you played against all the greats.
Yes.
You played again, and that was a big thing also. All those players that I played Test cricket against, I'd played against them in county cricket because in county cricket, you only had the best players playing, the overseas players. So Barry Richards, Gordon Greenwich down at Hampshire, then, and then you had Viv Richards, Joel Garner, Wayne Daniel down at Middlesex. I mean, Clive Rice and Hadley at Nottingham, Clive Lloyd, so, I mean, just name it. They had, I think there were 13 West Indies playing in county cricket. Then you had the South Africans, then you had not so much of the Australians, a lot of South Africans, quite a few Aussies came over. I mean, Alan Porter and all that. Tomo came and played for Middlesex. I mean, and then Dennis came at the end to play for Northampton. We got him over.
That's right.
And I think he got 7 for, and I used to stand at first slip and he used to say to me, am I getting my arm up? And I said, yeah, you're getting that arm up. He said, I've got to just turn with that arm. And I mean, we thought, wow, we're going to have a season and a half with him. And he turned over his ankle and that was it. And you know what? He could have gone home, but he stayed that whole season and coached the guys. I mean,
wow,
incredible guy.
Yeah.
He was.
And just digressing for a moment, have you been following the rugby stories in England with the potential bankruptcies and liquidations and so on?
Yeah,
terrible.
I think a lot RFU they should have stepped in earlier. But I mean,
yes.
I mean the debt that Worcester got, the Worcester Warriors. But the problem is some of the players will get signed up, but all those guys that was their livelihood. They're not going to be. And then we've got we've got Wasps also in the same position. So
correct.
Something could go wrong there. So I mean, rugby's not in a good state yet at the moment.
Definitely
in a very bad state.
Definitely not. I mean, would I be right in saying, and our son's involved at Wasps, but he doesn't talk about it. And I think that's largely to do with the fact that they're a very tightly knit group and, they keep it to themselves. But they've filed, and I've read this in the Coventry Times, or whatever it's called, Coventry Telegraph, they've now filed an NOR, Notice of Intention, which has basically given them another 20 days to settle their debt. I believe Newcastle might be in a very similar boat, so as you rightly say.
Well, listen, they're not getting the money in. So, how do you survive? These big club owners are going to be playing in 50 million. They've got to be playing masses amount of money to come. So, I mean, for a club to be paying, to have top players, I mean, you take Saracens. I still don't know how their wage bill operates, but the amount of money that's got to come in, who's the benefactor there,
Massive.
So you got to get that gate money, then you got your sponsorship money, all that television money.
Television rights.
It's not, I don't think it's working out. And I think it could be a few more.
No, very much so. I think
and especially with the economy now at the moment, people are pulling mortgages and people are, it's a big struggle. The government have got to try to do something in getting the country right. I mean, the pound is struggling at the moment. Not so much against rand, but the dollar was down to 103. Never been that before. So I mean,
the South Africans are used to that now.
We're used to it.
They've been talking about blackouts here in the winter.
No, please.
You should get some of your guys over. They could
professionals.
We'll sell you some solar panels, man.
It's got badger, Lammy. It's got badger at the moment. The lights are more off than on.
I see Brian Sarai's got a comment coming up here as well. How's it, Brian? Nice to see you there. Look at that photo of him there. Look at him enjoying himself.
Lammy and Page, you have a great week at Vernon Creswell's bush home in Milkbury. Sabi
Sands from time to time. Oh,
yes, that's correct.
Yeah.
He says you guys are bad news there. Loitering around.
That's what. Then you don't go wandering. That bush of boy, I'll stay indoors. So you don't go wandering around there.
First it's sharks, now this.
No, they got a nice Land Rover, and you sit in the Land Rover and you watch and have a nice drink there. And these guys set up a table, and it's like 30 yards away
in the bush.
from the bloody vehicle. I said, wait, bring that vehicle a bit closer.
So another question I wanted to ask you, financially, county cricket in a good space or similar to the rugger?
I also, again, some counties are coming through, but financially, there are too many counties playing. You can't have 17 counties. It's not going to work out. It's not good for the game. And I think we've got to do something about the game of cricket in the UK.
Yes.
And we have our 4-day games, and they are played now at the beginning of the season. We've got 100 competition, which is not going to go. That is the whole of August. So the test matches against Australia are going to be played in June and July. 5 test matches in that space. So, and then they've got the 2020 that the counties play to get a little bit more income. But, they've got to really sort it out. I mean, I think the way that England are playing a positive game of cricket is fantastic. It'll be full house where England go because they're going to play this cricket, and I always believe that's the way to play. If the ball's there, hit it. I mean, there's no, you can occupy the crease as long as you like, but let me tell you, if you don't score runs, it doesn't help the side. And you've got to be scoring all the time. And I think the way McCallum's brought this new thing, and also what he's done with the players. Before, when you played you never knew how many games you could be in for 2 games, and they drop you if you failed. So the guys never had any confidence. They were always worried about the shot in case they played a shot and they got out. McCallum's gone and said, go and play your way. You play and look to score runs. If you get out, don't worry about it. So, this is what he's doing. So it's created an unbelievable vibe. Speaking to the players, they're loving it. And anything can happen. So, I mean, but of course, you're going to play Australia next year, and they're different bowling lineup, so there's going to be a few hiccups, but it's going to be interesting, and it'll be sold out, and that's what you want.
Sure.
But the problem is these 3-day test matches are not so good.
Well, there's been a lot of them of late.
Yeah, especially if you're running a hospitality business like me, and
well,
you've got to start refunding.
Geez. And I mean, what do you put that down to, though? I mean, I think when we were there, did a test go 5 days?
No,
they all ended in 3 days.
No, none of them went 5 days. And New Zealand the same. I think the New Zealand one, because there was a bit of rain, went to the 5th day.
Yeah. Okay. So obviously now, just to pick up on what you said there, you have to refund those people.
So but you get refunded back from the ground, but it's all your margins and all that.
Sure. Jesus.
And it's not so good. So I love the way they're playing, but I said, please go 5 days.
Yeah, absolutely. So
or let it rain for 2 days.
Yeah, and do you have insurance cover for that eventuality?
No, that's very difficult. No, you can't. It's so difficult to get that.
And what tours do you have coming up? Sorry, Lammy. Sorry. What tours do you have coming up?
Well, England go to. They've just come. they're back from Pakistan. Well, they're in Aussie now for the 2020. And as South Africa, are they still playing 2020 in South Africa at the moment? I heard
Aren't
are they
India?
playing India?
I think they're in India.
India, yeah, I think so. Yes.
Are they in
gotta be-
India at the moment?
Yeah.
So they'll have to, well, they'll be heading straight down to Australia because
To Australia,
it
correct.
starts in, in
Very
a week
shortly.
or 10 days time.
Yeah.
We
very
love the
shortly.
Aussie games as well,
Yeah.
you know. Always a bit of vibe going on there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So then after the World Cup, then England tour Pakistan for 3 test matches.
So would you take a group to Pakistan?
No, we're not going to Pakistan. We're looking at New Zealand in February. So
Okay.
I was going to come and do the 3 one-days,
Yes.
but they're going to be played in Kimberley and Free State. So it's a bit of a trips where you're going to have one in Free State and then have 2 in Kimberley or vice versa.
Yeah.
And that is due to the fact that South Africa, that new 20 over starting in January,
Yes.
which is also going to knock the Aussies because they've also got their big bash. So this whole world, it's circling around one-day cricket, and the players, good on them. They can earn a fortune. Now I'm just going to play one-day cricket around the world. They're setting up another big one up in America.
Absolutely.
So good on them. But I'm looking maybe to go. We're busy trying to get a trip sorted for the two test matches in New Zealand, which is always a great place to tour.
Yeah. And are there no COVID restrictions at the moment?
No, nothing. That's all
So
gone.
it's all open door now.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, geez, that must have had a massive impact on your business.
Well, anyone, not only me.
Yeah.
I think,
Yeah.
in our business, everything. I mean, I was coming over. We were bringing 90 people, for each test match, for the British Lions. And unfortunately, that
Jeez,
closed
big
doors.
blow. Yeah.
Is that your retirement thing, that, Alan? So that's your job now.
Well,
Is
yeah,
your-
no, I've
is your
been doing
business,
this.
Your
No,
business.
this business I've had, the hospitality and travel business.
You've been doing it all the time.
Yeah, since we
Since you stopped the cricket. I mean, stop playing.
Behind every man is a good woman.
Ah,
I promise you.
Really?
You talk shit to the oaks in the crowd there, and his mom,
oh, I see.
his Mrs. Lindsay.
You just
need
flit
good- you
around
need-
hobnobbing with the
you need good
hobnobs.
work. You need good workers around.
Listen, she runs it with a pine flipping
Okay, so no retirement plans for you.
No, nothing. Not with the economy like it is at the moment either. Geez, the pension's taken a bit of a blow on this, on the economy. Yeah, Jesus, the share prices, everything.
No, she's I see it.
So you boys are having a laugh at our economy.
2 more questions. You phoned me a little while ago about a guy, and I won't mention his name, in order to protect him. You were looking to get a guy to Northampton. Did you have any joy? You might remember. You were with I think the president or the chairman of Northampton. And you were looking at a particular individual.
No.
Was he not interested?
No, I don't. I got out of the. I sort of put them in touch. So I don't even know what happened there.
Yeah, funny. I've seen nothing in the press. Yeah. And then what about Cassie's son?
James.
Yeah.
James.
Yeah,
Cass.
I mean, he was one who played for us. He was as mad as I had to that one. I mean, I've got,
Cassie, tell us
we
a
got
story or
time
two.
just for a quick. I'll tell you a quick one about.
Tell us a
Cassie.
story or two.
We were playing against Sussex, and my looks like my computer's backing in here. We were playing
we can
against
still see you.
Sussex, and they had Imran Khan and Garth LaRue, and Cassie had the new ball, and they were all watching, and I said, guys, Cassie's quite quick here, you guys, and they're all watching. So I said, Cassie, he does his practice run up, but he does a full one like that. And all of a sudden, the wheels go from underneath him. He lands straight on his head. Well, everyone's watching. Boys have gone down. First ball, total wide. And then when he used to loosen up in the dressing room, he used to run into the wall with his shoulder, and everyone's thinking,
Correct.
what's happening here? I mean, he was a total character. I mean,
Need a straight jacket.
Yeah.
Straight jacket for him.
And he was an entertainer, and God, when he got it right, he was quite sharp,
No, he was.
But
They've
his
done
son, they've what I've heard and what I've seen, I mean, they rate him quite highly. So
Yeah, absolutely.
Good.
he should
Absolutely.
go places.
Yeah, well, let's hope. And you guys didn't have any joy in getting him out of Durham there.
Yeah, I mean, I think there was. I don't know. I'm not too sure about what's happened there. If he's
Isn't
He's left
Beefy in
or
charge
not.
of Durham?
hey,
Isn't Beefy in charge of
yeah,
Durham?
Beefy's he's the chairman or something like that.
Okay.
I don't know how often he goes there, but
He'd want to go there.
yeah, again, it's quite easy now. The loyalty's gone from staying at a county because you used to get a testimonial. So, but now the money's very good and you've got a good pension. So those testimonials are gone. So you used to stay with that. You never left that club.
Okay.
But I mean, now, if someone comes up with big bucks, you're gone. So
Yes. Yeah,
there we
sure.
are.
Yeah.
Anyway.
No, lekker.
My man,
Thank you, Alan.
always good to talk to you.
That was fantastic. Yeah,
Thank
what
you for
a
your
good
time.
show. I hope that I see Barbara Gunn saying that I hope Page is feeling better. I hope so.
We're
Must
going
be
to find out now. We'll find
there's
out.
somebody's. Well, we'll get hold of him and see if he's okay. But because maybe something he ate before he came.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he's looking like a racing snake, eh? He's
Yeah, he's looking
got him on the
well,
diet
looking
and
good.
everything. So, but
Looking
we
very
better give
well.
him a ring, man. The old boy.
I'm gonna,
Jeez.
yeah,
I-
I'm going to phone him
was-
now.
He probably got ill because he was looking at me for too long.
Thank Brian saying
All right,
great
boys.
show.
Give our love to Linz.
I'll do
And,
that.
I look forward to seeing you
lovely
in December,
chatting to
January.
Gino and
Thank you
Fry,
for your
mate.
time. It's been
Okay,
fantastic.
Thanks, Albin. Cheers,
No
Lamby.
problem. Cheers.
All
eh?
the best. Cheers.
Okay,
See you
all
soon.
right, Cheers.
Ciao,
Cheers,
ciao,
Lamby.
man. All right, so we're wrapping it up. Another Gino spot. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Hey, Fires, that was great. Firing on all
I feel very
cylinders.
comfortable next to you. Thank you. Thank you,
No
Gary.
problem. Thank you for joining us online. It's been fantastic. And on Tuesday, we'll see you again on Tuesday.
Thank you all. Thank you.
We've
Have
got
a
a
good evening.
surprise guest on Tuesday if I can get hold of her.
Relax, sit down. Coming out of PE town. Have a drink, find a shot. Never mind your liver, get to Gino's spot.